Let's jump right into this explainer and demystify the absolute thrilling chaos of the UEFA Europa League. You know, it's famously unpredictable, it's highly lucrative, and it is just packed with historic clubs fighting for continental glory under those Thursday night lights. We're going to unpack exactly how this whole thing works, how it's completely transformed over the last few decades, and why it commands the absolute attention of millions of fans all around the globe. So here's our roadmap for today. We'll be covering its place as the second-tier giant, its evolution from a cup to a league, the brand new format, the massive prize money at stake, and finally, the ultimate kings of Europa. All right, part one, the second-tier giant, the middle child of European football. The UEFA Europa League has literally been a cornerstone of European football for over 5 decades. Officially organized by UEFA since way back in 1971, it actually replaced an older tournament you might have heard of called the Inter-Cities Fairs Cup. And man, what began as a simple way for clubs to compete across borders has absolutely ballooned into a behemoth. To put it into perspective, 36 teams participate in the league phase alone, with 58 teams involved in the total cycle. It draws eligible clubs based on their domestic league performances and national cup victories, basically bringing together the most resilient domestic contenders from all across the continent. It sits squarely in this fascinating middle ground, sandwiched right between the elite Champions League and the newer Conference League. It really is the true second-tier giant. For a long time, the hierarchy was pretty simple, but now it operates in this incredibly diverse space. You've got teams that just narrowly missed out on their domestic titles, playing right alongside massive global clubs that might be in the middle of a rebuilding phase. This unique positioning makes it arguably the most diverse competition in the entire world. I mean, you might see a Premier League titan facing off against a gritty cup winner from a much smaller European nation. And honestly, that clash of styles, that's exactly where the magic happens. Moving on to part 2, from cup to league, tracking the evolution. Let's take a quick trip back. When this tournament first kicked off in the 1971-72 season as the UEFA Cup, it was a pure, ruthless knockout tournament. Every single tie, even the final itself, was played over 2 legs. Fun fact, the very first final was an all-English affair, where Tottenham Hotspur beat Wolverhampton Wanderers. Then jumped in 1997, and they made a massive shift by introducing a one-off, single-match final at a neutral venue. By 2004, UEFA added a group stage to guarantee teams more matches. And finally, in 2009, the tournament underwent its most significant transformation yet. You see, that 2009 rebranding wasn't just a simple name change. It was a total survival tactic to elevate the competition's prestige. UEFA desperately needed to bring the tournament's profile closer to the glitz and glamour of the Champions League. So, to streamline European football, they absorbed the older third-tier UEFA Intertoto Cup directly into this newly branded Europa League. This strategic move allowed UEFA to firmly govern the whole competition. It ensured standard rules, standardized refereeing, and a highly polished broadcast product. Essentially, it completely transitioned the tournament from a secondary cup into a highly structured, prestigious global league. Okay, part 3, the new format explained, demystifying the 2024-25 changes. 36. Keep that magic number in your head because the traditional group stage has been completely replaced by a massive 30-16 league phase. That's right, the old days of being drawn into an isolated little group of 4 teams and playing the same 3 opponents home and away, totally gone. Now all 36 participating clubs are ranked together in one giant, continuous league table. It's a massive structural shift, and it was designed specifically to create more dynamic matchups and keep the stakes incredibly high right down to the very final match day. So how exactly does a team navigate this treacherous new format? Well, each of the 36 teams plays 8 matches against 8 different opponents, 4 games at home and 4 away. Once all those points are tallied on the master table, the top 8 teams are rewarded with a direct bye straight into the round of 16. But here's where it gets unbelievably tense. Teams ranked 9th through 24th must face off in a high-stakes, 2-legged knockout playoff just to survive. And if you finish 25th or lower, well, your European dream is instantly over. You are eliminated completely. No safety net. And why does going through this grueling format even matter? Because surviving it grants the absolute ultimate golden ticket, the Champions League. Since 2015, UEFA has incentivized clubs by offering the Europa League winner an automatic berth in the following season's premier tournament. Under the latest rules, the winner is vaulted permanently into the Champions League phase, which means they actually don't even defend their title in the Europa League the following year. It literally turns this tournament into the single most valuable stepping stone in all of world football. Which brings us to part 4, high stakes and prize money, breaking down the financial pool. The financial progression here is just staggering. Lifting the trophy comes with a massive 8.6 million euro check on top of all the other bonuses. Just qualifying for the initial phase secures a club a base fee of 3.63 million euros. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Every single match won in that phase adds another 630,000 euros to the bank, and even a draw pays out 210,000 euros. Winning the group or ranking high adds further millions. As teams progress through the playoffs, the round of 16, and the quarterfinals, these payouts compound so rapidly. The runner-up takes home 4.6 million, but again, the champion secures that massive 8.6 million euro grand prize. For a lot of clubs, capturing this kind of revenue can completely transform their financial future for an entire decade. Backing up those incredible stakes is a massive roster of blue-chip corporate sponsors, totally proving the tournament's global commercial appeal. We're talking vast consumer brands like Just Eat Takeaway and Lidl, to tire manufacturers like Hankook, and transport giants like Flixbus. The whole sponsorship ecosystem is incredibly robust. Decathlon Rome stepped in as the official matchball supplier starting in the 2024-25 season. These teams play in stadiums lined with unified LED advertising hoarding specifically branded for the tournament, which creates a highly polished product that reaches hundreds of millions of televisions worldwide. And finally, Part 5, the Kings of Europa, Trophies and Titans. 7. That is the staggering record number of titles held by Sevilla, making them far and away the most successful club in the history of the Europa League. I mean, they haven't just won it, they have absolutely dominated it across 3 different decades. They took the crown in 2006, 2007, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2020, and 2023. That legendary three-peat between 2014 and 2016 is an unprecedented feat. In fact, under UEFA regulations, because they won 3 consecutively and have more than 5 total, Sevilla is literally the only club in Europe that has earned the honor to wear a special multiple winner badge right on their sleeves. And let's talk about what they're actually fighting for. The physical trophy itself is a heavyweight masterpiece of silver and onyx that teams are willing to bleed for. Designed for the 1972 final by the legendary Italian sculptor Silvio Gazzaniga, who, by the way, also designed the iconic FIFA World Cup trophy, this cup doesn't even have handles, and it weighs a massive 33 pounds. Formed by a base of onyx discs with a silver body symbolizing stylized footballers, hoisting this massive piece of solid metal over your head after a grueling 90-minute match, yeah, that requires some actual gym strength. Bringing us right up to the present day, Aston Villa currently holds the 2026 title. In a brilliant display of the tournament's ever-shifting power dynamics, the English club captured their very first title by definitively beating SC Freiburg 3-0 in that 2026 final. It's a perfect example of how historic clubs can utilize this competition to return to the absolute pinnacle of European success, really writing their own chapter in the tournament's rich history. So I want to leave you with this to consider. With a completely diverse mix of domestic cup winners and Champions League fallouts, is the Europa League actually the most unpredictable and exciting tournament in all of European football? We've seen how its brutal format ensures that no team is safe, how the immense financial rewards can completely change a club's destiny, and how the crazy mix of playing styles makes every single match day a wild ride. When gritty domestic cup underdogs clash with sleeping giants, the result is pure drama. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep all of this in mind the next time you tune in to watch a squad fighting with everything they have to lift that massive silver trophy under the European lights.
you.